noise!
Hello and welcome to another edition of Truth and Rhythm, brought to you by funkandstuff.net. This is the interview show that gets deep in the pocket with contemporary music's foremost masters of the groove. I'm your host, Scott Dr. Jigs Goldfine, musicologist and author of Everything's on the One, the First Guide to Funk. If you don't have your copy, get on over to Amazon and pick one up. You'll be so glad you did. Whether you're watching the video version of this at funkandstuff.net or on YouTube, or listening to the audio-only podcast version from providers like iTunes and Spotify, as always, I thank you so much for your continued interest and support in the show. Speaking of which, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Funk and Stuff channel on YouTube. That's where Truth and Rhythm lives. All kinds of goodies. You'll get early premieres, and it's all free, so make sure you sign up. Tell a friend, tell family. Also, get your official Truth and Rhythm and Funk and Stuff gear at the funkandstuff.net store. Cool stuff like I'm wearing right here. Truth and Rhythm shirts. Show your support and love of the show and also the musicians and the music that they represent. Also want to give a shout out to the Funk Exhibition Center and Hall of Fame in Dayton, Ohio, of which I'm very proud to be an official funk ambassador. Go to thefunkcenter.org to learn more and keep the funk alive. And now, with all that, it's time to get on with the show. Enjoy. I'm delighted to welcome to the Truth and Rhythm Mothership R&B, funk, and hip-hop vocalist Val Young. Having worked with George Clinton and Roy Ayers, she spent several years during the 1980s recording and performing with the Gap Band. During the latter part of that decade, she connected with Rick James and released 2 solo albums. For the past 3 decades, Young has kept very busy backing artists such as Bobby Womack, Teena Marie, Dr. Dre, Evelyn Champagne King, Snoop Dogg, Gerald Levert, Tupac, Debarge, Charlie Wilson, Teddy Riley, and many others. Most recently, she's been involved in a revival of the Mary Jane Girls. Val, welcome to the show. How are you?
I am good. I like that intro. Really, really, really nice.
I aim to please. But
you're doing a great job already.
Well, thanks. It helps when you've had such an illustrious, career to summarize.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, where are you coming to us from today?
I'm at home in Los Angeles, which is Sherman Oaks, California. I'm at home.
San Fernando
Chilling
Valley.
with this pandemic. Yes.
Yeah, I know it well.
I'm at home.
I grew up as a kid there through 4th grade, and then.
Oh, really?
Lived on the went to Santa Monica for middle school and high school. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you know about out here. Yes, I'm at home, just chilling, praying every day and wanting this pandemic to go away. I'm praying every day and just trying to live a normal life doing what we do. Only thing I miss the road. So I'm working on other new material, which I have new recordings, but I'm getting ready to work on more. And waiting for the new year, 2021, to pop in, to be better.
Yeah, sure hope so. But but glad to see you're doing relatively well, and that you're able to join me on the show. So
yes, I wouldn't have missed it for anything.
Fantastic. All right. Well, let's jump right in and talk about how you got started and how you got to where you are today. Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I was born and raised in Detroit. And in 1978, was it 78, 77? 77, Flashlight was out. On the mother's chicken. way back at the end of the 70s. I think it was between 76, 77. Yeah, it was. And I met P-Funk. There was a friend of mine, and he asked me to go with him to Toledo, Ohio to go see P-Funk. And I was like, do I want to go see P-Funk? Yes. I wanted to meet George Clinton. And I went to the show, and I was singing around because I was known singing around in Detroit. Me, Rose, and Vanessa, we were the Three Shades of Black. And I was singing around Emerald Lounge. I knew the Floaters. I was just singing around. Everyone knew me for singing at the bars and singing around, hanging, just singing out the window. I've been singing from church, on my streets where I grew up, all my friends in school. Everyone knew that Val could sing. And instead of playing outside, I had, back then we said record player, a little box when they closed, or stereo. And I was constantly into my music, of my arts and craft, of what I wanted to do. So after I went to the show and I met George Clinton, I came back and I started hanging out with them. I did the audition with them. I was so young, they were going overseas. I couldn't go, because I was much younger. I didn't have passport. I didn't have none of that. So they went over, but Lynn Mabry and Don Silver from Brides of Funkenstein, I had got hired, but I was so young. And later on, I started working with P-Funk. I went out and did dates, went on the road with P-Funk. And then after from the P-Funk, I went to Memphis, Tennessee, and I met the Gap Band and Rick James.
Well,
I got hired.
How did you actually meet George Clinton, though? Do you remember the introduction, or did you just go wait backstage, or what happened?
I went backstage. A friend of mine took me backstage, and he introduced me to them. Yeah, he introduced me to them, and I was like, Dr. Funkenstein. And I was just smiling all in the inside. I was just smiling. And I started dressing like a funkadelic. I started dressing, and my family was like, "Ooh, look," because I was true P-Funk. I was true to the game. And it's been the most joyful thing that happened to me, because George and I were still close right to this day. We open up for him. We do shows. I talked to George. George called me on my birthday. I talked to George the other day. I'm in Carline, so it's been a family, forever lasting relationship. His daughter, his children, everyone.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. I mean, he was just on Steve Kober with Public Enemy a few days ago.
Yeah, he just did Public Enemy video.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just did a song together, so that worked out. That's when I talked to George.
When you met George and some of the other band members, and even Don and Lynn, and what were they like, personality wise, and what was it like to be so close to that musical, just dynamo?
Oh, it was like a dream come true to be listening to Flashlight and the Mothership Connection, and then being able to meet these people and work with them later on was just a dream come true.
And then you met the Gap Band. Did you do something with Roy Ayers also, or was that?
Yes, I worked with Roy. I sure did. I worked with Roy Ayers. Oh, did I love Roy Ayers. Just working with him, being around Roy I love Roy right to this day. And it's so funny, I'm going to reach out to Roy because I'm writing my book, A Story to Tell. And Roy is in the book, but the times Roy, myself, and Rick, and everyone, I'm going to reach out to Roy Ayers.
How great is it that Roy and George and Charlie are all still with us and all still doing music?
Still doing music. Isn't that wonderful?
Awesome.
Still looking amazing.
Yeah.
God is a gracious, good God.
So, Roy, very different from a George Clinton, I mean, a lot more laid back, I would think, and musically just, more jazzy and stuff like that. So, was it challenging for you to transition from, hardcore funk to more jazzy kind of material?
No, I don't have a problem with any music, jazz, gospel, R&B, funk, hip hop, rap. I can just get in where I fit in. And
Mm.
I could say that I'm blessed. I like all music. I love country music. I love it all.
Who were some of your other heroes singing wise when you were growing up?
Oh my God, Gladys Knight, Rutha Franklin, Shaka Khan, which was a friend of mine, Natalie Cole, friend of mine, Donny Hathaway, Stevie Wonder, friend of mine. Those were my biggest influences. I used to listen to their music all the time, and I still do.
I love them all. Those are some great. Those are just a half dozen or
Great
so of
ones,
the best
huh?
of all time, right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I play them all the time at home. The Temptations. Oh, but Gladys. Oh my goodness. I just love Miss Gladys. She's my all-time favorite of all times, Miss Gladys Knight. And Rick surprised me, and I went to her show at Universal City Walk when he still had it, and I was just so amazed to go see Gladys. I was like shaking on the inside. Then we were on was it the Soul Train cruise? I believe it was. It was a cruise, and Gladys was on there, and I got a chance to speak to her again and talk, and I was just feeling so much joy on the inside. Then my friend Glodian White from Love Unlimited, Barry White's wife, widow, she surprised me, and Gladys last year was at the Hollywood Bowl, and she said, I have something for you. You know, I have you a birthday present. It was after my birthday. And I was like, okay. She said, get ready. And I got ready. She took me to the Hollywood Bowl. We had box seats to go see Gladys Knight. Oh my God. Scott, I didn't know what to do but just, and from the time we got there to the Hollywood Bowl, the time I left, my mouth was just open for watching everything of Gladys on stage, how she sang, how she talks. Just, I love Gladys Knight.
She's such a talent, but also carries herself with such elegance.
Yes, she does. Yes, she does. She's one immaculate woman that I like to pattern myself after. And looking at her vocally, the entertainment part of her, everything that she's done in this business, filmed, everything, and she still looks amazing, and she still sounds amazing right to this day.
Absolutely. She did
You
the
know?
national anthem not long ago at, was it the Super Bowl or one of those big games?
She did so. Did she sing that or what?
And then she recently did that Instagram battle with Patti LaBelle, so she's still
See, I
feisty and
didn't see
active.
that. I missed that. How was it?
Yeah, well, if I'm comparing the two, I'm definitely more of a Gladys than a Patti LaBelle fan. I totally respect Patti too, but definitely lean more towards Gladys, and
See,
she
I
did it.
go back with the old Gladys Knight and the Pips.
Hmm.
I can sing. I go back with Gladys Knight and the Pips. And
Yeah,
then when Gladys went solo. So I know all of the old songs of Gladys Knight and the Pips, all of everything.
Cool. Well, let's talk more about Val. So, you got with the Gap Band. You know, how did you have to audition for that too, or how did you get that job?
Well, I would know. I didn't have to audition. I was around Robert, Charlie, and Ronnie. We have gotten close, and I moved out to Los Angeles from Detroit, and I just started singing around, and they decided to take females out singing background. And I was one of the females, the Gapettes. That's me singing on Outstanding, Oops Upside Your Head, Party Train, all the Gap Band hits, early in the morning, everything. That's me.
Wow. And Dawn was part of that too?
Dawn came in later to work with us. She came in later to work with us. She didn't start out with us right away. And she came in later to work with us. But Dawn wasn't on a lot of the Gap Band hits. That was me, Maxine Julia Waters, Sheila Horn sung on Outstanding with me, Rudy Taylor and other people in the band, but Dawn didn't sing on a lot of the Gap Band hits at all, no.
Who did most of the vocal arrangements?
Charlie Wilson. Lonnie Simmons, of course, was who owned Total Experience and the company. Lonnie was in there working with us. But Charlie Wilson, Ronnie Wilson, Robert, all of them did. The Gap Band, we all put in the work. But you know, Charlie is Charlie. Look at him now.
Yeah, he's one of the all-time great soul frontmen, for sure.
Yes.
So what was it like on the road, though, with those guys?
It was so much fun. Learning the experience of working with the three brothers, knowing how talented they are and what their job is, because they play different instruments and they grew up in church. I come from church, and it was wonderful working with the Gap Band. I miss those days.
I mean, they were just definitely one of the most successful funk R&B acts of the entire first half of the 80s. They just had hit after hit, you know. They kept coming.
Hit after hit.
Yeah.
And that was me on all those hits.
And I was a DJ, you know, throughout the 80s. So, I mean, I just played those so much. All the long versions, you know, the 12-minute versions of Drop the Bomb and all that stuff. So,
yeah. Where were you at? Where were you?
Los Angeles. So I worked at a club called Radio, which was it was called the Radio Club when Ice-T was working there. When I did, it was called the TV Club, and then also a place called the Orr House in Santa Monica. And then I ran a mobile disc jockey company and did all the stuff. So
that is wonderful.
Yeah. So through 1995.
Well, you're not looking bad yourself, Scott. You're doing all right, and you're still standing. Look at you.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to give back what I can to the music I love so much and it's meant so much to me throughout my life.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
We thank you very much. I thank you.
So, with the Gap Band, you must have been on bills with just about everybody during that time. So, was there anyone that you heard or met that really jumped out to you during all those, you know, bills and tours?
We were on tour and we worked and we worked and we worked. I have been truly blessed to be out on tour, opening, working, singing, being around, having fun of everyone. Everyone has been truly a blessing. And being out with the Gap, because people were coming to see. We was putting it down like that. We was dropping the bomb on them. So, and we worked, people open up, we open up, then headline, then guest act. So I really had the honor of just opening up my eyes to everyone, being able to see everyone.
You guys must
If
have
they
played.
wasn't if they wasn't backstage, they were sitting in the audience.
Yeah, you must have been played with Cameo and Roger and
Oh, no
Confunction and
doubt. No doubt. Barcade.
yeah,
No doubt. No doubt. All that.
yeah. And Rick James, was he on any of the Gap Band?
Gap Band opened up for Rick James.
Okay.
Gap Band. I met Charlie Wilson and Rick James at the same time in Memphis, Tennessee. I went to the show and I met both of them. I became friends, very close with both of them. Started singing with the Gap Band. After I started singing with the Gap Band, I left and went to Buffalo, New York, started singing with Rick James. And from there was history.
Were you singing with Rick before your first solo record?
Yes, I was Mary Jane Band, which first Rick had the Color Girls. Then he had Mary Jane Band. Then he had Mary Jane Girls. So I started singing with Rick in 1981, beginning, and did the Street Songs tour, did everything. Up until Rick expired, I was with Rick James. I would leave, go on tour with someone else, would come back. I was always that part of Rick James.
I saw those early '80s shows at like the Long Beach Arena and the Forum.
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing,
Was those the shows?
fantastic
Amazing.
shows. I mean, he just was oozing charisma, and the band was so tight, and they were just
Stone City.
fantastic shows.
Yes. Yes, I miss those. Being out with Rick, you had everything. You had the best of everything. Rick didn't want his band somewhere else or his girls, and he stayed somewhere. Because, you know, that's how I was at times. The artists would stay one place, some of them, and your band and your singers be somewhere else. Rick had his people, wherever he was, his people had to be right with him. We ate at the best restaurants. We had the best of rent-a-cars. We had, oh my goodness, Rick gave us the world. When you wasn't on tour, you got retainers. If you needed something from Rick, you came and you got it.
What stood out to you about Rick though, as just as a guy and a musician, you know, in those early '80s years?
Rick was a perfectionist. He liked things. He liked, if he tell you to do something one way, that's the way he wanted it. He could write a song, go in there, go in the room, be thinking, and come back out, and the song was written. He was, oh, I just loved everything about RJ. I miss him so much. I learned from Rick how to get out here and do what you do. Be focused. Rick always told me, be someone that someone else want to be. Mm-hmm.
I had the Hughes brothers were on the show a while back, and they talked about just how amazing Rick's facility was for just having songs come to him, you know, and creating those songs.
Yeah, oh, he could create. We could be laughing and talking, and he'll come up and create a song. You know, that's how perfectionist that he was. The best of everything. So you read about a lot of it too in my book, The Story to Tell. The man, the friend, and the boss.
Was he, or could he be a tough taskmaster?
Oh yes, no doubt. There was times that I could handle him. Because I'm tough. No matter what they say, no matter what they do, I still roll with the punches. I'm a fighter.
When he was formulating, putting together the Mary Jane Girls, how did it happen that they were who they were and that you went as a solo act?
I always wanted to be solo. Solo was my thing because I knew I was a lead singer. I knew I was background singer. So when he told me he was putting together girls, he said, I'm going to audition some girls. And I was, that's not. So he auditioned a lot of girls. JoJo was, of course, the original. She was out of Buffalo, and she was brought in and all. And he did JoJo, was the first girl to build it around her. Then he met Candy, he met Sherry, and he had a girl, Tegan. But Tegan's parents wouldn't let her, because of religion, of wearing certain things and doing how Rick wanted the girls to be dressed. So Candy knew a girl, and that's when she brought her name, Kim, but Rick named her Maxie and brought her in. And he formed Mary Jane Girls. And then later on, when Sherry wasn't there, it was Corvette, which Yvette, but Rick said Corvette, and brought them. But I still sung on Mary Jane Girls records. I did the singer, JoJo did the leads, and I did the singer. Maxine and Julia Waters also sung with me on there too. Candy sung, Sherry did, but Maxie didn't sing.
So you're on things like In My House and
I'm on all.
Candyman.
My plaque is up here on the. No, I'm not on Candyman.
Oh.
I'm not on Candyman. That's JoJo. I'm on Wild and Crazy Love. I'm on
All Night
In
Long.
My House. I'm on. No, I'm not on All Night Long. That's JoJo.
Okay.
That's Maxine and Julia Waters, and them was singing on it. Because when they were doing a lot of recording for that first album, I was out. I was either out on the road or I was working myself. I always keep myself working in the studio, working at home, or on the road. I live like a gypsy. I love the road life. I love performing live, watching people expressions, singing to them and seeing the feeling of them watching me, giving me love back, the love that I want to give to them.
What was your perspective on that alleged Rick James Prince kind of rift and the whole thing with both having girl groups and and the competitive aspect of that?
To me, there was no competitive. It was made so to be competitive. But Prince used to open up for us. Prince would open up for Rick. So how was it competitive, as the business made it and people made it? And Rick was older than Prince. Rick was out before Prince. So they made it blow up bigger than it was because I was friends with Prince. And I would go to Prince's house. Prince rented a skating ring. It was a bowling alley on one side and a skating rink on the other. And we went roller skating at night. It was closed. He would rent that out and go to Prince's house. Prince was a lovable guy. Very sweet to me. When he see me, talk to me, I could go in the dresser. I wouldn't have no problem with Prince. So they made it more into, into things, because Prince came out. He watched Rick. Then he came out with a female group, Vanity 6 and Apollonia 6. So it was like there was enough room for everyone. Like singers. You got singers like this singer, you got singers like that singer. Like a car. I may like a Benz, you may like a Jaguar. They both ride down the street.
Well, anyway, George Clinton did that before them, and then
exactly. Sly Stone.
James Brown did it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's enough room for everyone. And everybody pattern and you watch someone else, you know?
So, what went into putting together your first solo record, Seduction? You know, when did you know it was going to happen, and what went into making it reality?
Fred Jenkins is a writer. He was a guitar player for the Gap Band. And Fred Jenkins and I used to just write, be on the bus, writing, be in the hotel rooms, and we'd be writing songs. I said I was going to work on my solo, so we started just writing songs. And I would call Rick and tell Rick, I'm going to bring you songs. Actually, I started also writing songs with Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam. We're very good friends. And we were writing together as well. So I said, I'm going to take these songs and let Rick hear them because I want to do a solo. And I took the song and let Rick hear. He loved them. And Rick shot my deal. Rick did 2 songs on me. I had all of the songs written and done. Rick did 2 songs on me, which was Seduction and Piece of My Heart. All the rest of the songs, Fred Jenkins and Val Young did, with a lot of other writers work with us. And we did, and Rick loved everything that we did. And he took, and he shopped, and he got the deal. He came back, he said, well, you got it. I said, I got it. He said, yes, you got it. But let me tell you this a little bit. At first, Rick took me to Arista Records because he had Stone City Band, Mary Jane Girls over at Motown. And I knew with Rick James' sound and me recording on Mary Jane Girls' album that it was going to be that sound. We were going to sound alike. And so he took me to Arista, and they loved it. But Motown had first rights or refusal. Rick had a production deal, and he had to bring 3 acts to Motown. So he had Stone City Band, he had Mary Jane Girls, and they heard my material, and they loved it, and they said we wanted her. So I signed with Motown. And we came out, but the sound was alike. You know, that's just like anyone that would work in an organization, that sound is going to sound alike. Like when Babyface does songs, Tony Braxton and the songs, John B. and the organization is because of that sound, you know? But I was happy. I was thanking God. I said, let's just do this. Let's rock and roll.
And it did pretty well. And I just want to mention some of my favorites on there. Come Hang Out, the title track, and the title track and Waiting for You definitely, especially had sort of that Rick James flavor.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
I called you up on the telephone, but you wasn't there. Oh, I love Waiting for You.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of my favorites on there. Mind Games had a rock edge to it, you know?
Yeah. Mind Games. Now, that was before time, because Mind Games, I love Mind Games right now. Don't play those mind games on me. If I'm the one that you love, I'm the one you love.
Sounding good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What were the sessions like? Did the Stone City Band play most of the parts, or other musicians, or?
Levi Ruffin worked with us, and some Stone City Band, yes. Dan Gamel played on the saxo songs. Different musicians Rick would have come in and play. Yes. Kenny Hawkins, a lot of people come in and play. JoJo sung on Seduction, background. Candy sung on If You Should Ever Be Lonely, and other songs on my album. So a lot of us, when you family, you work together, yes.
What who decided on the image, you know, and the both covers of both albums are very, you know, provocative and attention getting, and who kind of was behind that?
Oh, you know, RJ, Rick James, the one and only. Yes. He decided that. He said, "You're going to be the Black Marilyn Monroe. You remind me, and you're a Gemini." So he said, "This is what you're going to do." And I did it.
Were you comfortable with that?
Very much.
Yeah.
Very much. He called me pretty black woman. Yeah, I was so happy with that.
What was Levi like to work with? I mean, he, did so much of the actual music, behind the scenes stuff,
I just talked to Levi yesterday, and Levi was hardcore. Levi wanted you to bring it, but Levi was fantastic. I had a wonderful time working with Levi, and we're getting ready to do some other work together now.
That's great. I mean, so cool that he's still, all the Stone City guys are still doing their thing, which is great.
Yes, my brothers.
Yeah.
We're going to all get together. We're going to get together and make some things happen. So surprise, surprise, look for 2021. Future, there's going to be some great things happening.
Did you go out and tour as yourself, and do those songs, or?
Yes, I worked a lot in New York. I went to Miami. Oh yes, I went out a lot of where I stayed. I was like the queen of New York. I just stayed working New York, New York, New York, New York, New York, all over New York, Connecticut. Europe loves me. I get messages from people in Australia, all over Europe, London, all over. They just love me. And I always answer back. I stay in touch with the people as well,
Were you satisfied with how the record did, commercially, the first one?
I was loving. I think a lot of things with my knowledge could have been better, you know what I mean, of things to do. But I was happy because I got out here. Now, I got known. And then when years later for Mariah Carey, she did my record, If You Should Ever Be Lonely. She did it in Japan and in America here. And I was just so happy and truly blessed. I said, Mariah did me? And then when I met Mariah, we became good friends. And it was a blessing. So I have no complaints.